Welcome to my video series about Minecraft Bedrock Edition Village Mechanics. This is going to be a series of videos and it's going to cover everything from the basics of what are villages, how are they created, what are the sizes of villages, what are the village detection ranges, things like that, all the way to complex stacking mechanics, um, bugs that we are aware of, and everything in between. Um, This video is going to be about the basics of what is a village, how do I create a village, do I need bells, do I need beds, what are the sizes of a village, how do I determine that, what are the village detection ranges, um, just generally the basic size and shape of villages. And I'll produce a video of this about every, I don't know, 2 or 3 days, just whenever I get a chance. And I just want to go over the mechanics of a village so that everyone can get a general understanding of them. I was asked to do this by a few people, and I want to do them in shorter videos rather than maybe a 2 or 3 hour video. I want to do, let's say, 10-15 minutes each, because if individual mechanics change, like let's say villager detection ranges change, it's much easier for me to go back and remake a 10-minute video than it is for me to delete a whole 3 hour video and redo that. I guess let's get into it. First and foremost, what is a village? Well, simply a village is one bed and one villager. You actually don't need a bell, and you actually don't need a workstation. I'll put down this workstation, and he'll claim it, and I'll break it. Now, he's an unemployed villager. He doesn't have a profession. He doesn't have a bed. He doesn't have a bell. It's a villager and a bed. Now, let's go look at the data, and I'll show you the village that we just created. All right, here we are in Universal Minecraft Editor. Let's open our files. As you can see here on the left, these 4 files right here are the village files. This is the village we just created. Notice that it has one entry here for the villager. This is his villager ID number, and this is his TS number. Now, the TS number indicates, if it's low, that he is still within the village and is not in risk of being disconnected from the village. This applies to golems, this applies to cats, it applies to dwellers of any type, villagers and hostiles also. And this is his unique ID number. Now, the folder we are concerned with is the POI folder. And because we only have one villager, we're only going to have one set of entries. Now, each of these 3 folders pertain to that same villager. Because this says skip 0, this is his bed. It says do not skip your bed. At the appropriate times for your schedule, get in your bed. This right here is the bell folder, and it says skip 1 because he does not have a bell. You do not need a bell for a village. If people tell you that you need a bell for a village, they don't understand the mechanics. Now, bells can be useful for different things. For placing village centers in certain spots, but you don't need a bell. If people tell you that you have to have a bell, then they don't know and they don't understand, and you should leave them alone because they're telling you bad information. This is your workstation, and it also says skip because he doesn't have a workstation yet. So let's jump back into Minecraft and let's give him a bell and a workstation and come back and look at the difference. Alright, we're back here with our villager. And like I said, let's get him in view and let's give him a workstation. And he'll not instantly, but within a few seconds, he'll claim this POI. His outfit will change, and he'll now have a profession. You can trade with him now. Unemployed, no trade. Employed, trade. Now, if he has a workstation, different workstations give him different jobs. That was a cartographer. This is a librarian. Notice that he's dressed up as a librarian now. If you want to give him a bell, he will claim the bell. If you add an extra workstation, let's actually add this one. This is what's called an unclaimed POI. There's no villager here to claim this. This is an unclaimed POI. Unclaimed POI are not saved in the village data. Unclaimed POI are redistributed each time that the game is saved and quit and then reloaded, or each time you leave the area and come back. If you unload these chunks, this POI would be given to the closest village to it. And how it calculates that depends on what kind of device you're on. So let's go look at the data, and I'll show you both this workstation and his bell, but not this because it's not saved in the data. Now here we are back with our favorite village and favorite villager. Let's open up his POI folder one more time. And you notice instantly that these two bottom folders have changed. Notice that they no longer say skip 1. And the second folder here is his bell. Now, bells have a capacity of 20. That means 20 villagers can claim this individual bell. If you have more than 20 villagers and you want to give them a bell, you will need at least 2 bells. And here's his workstation, and it actually describes what type of workstation. It's a cartographer table. And that makes him a cartographer. And of course, here's his bed. Here's the XYZ location of his bed, the XYZ location of his bell, and the XYZ location of his workstation. So let's jump back into Minecraft and talk about a few other things. Now that I showed you how to create a village and that what it takes to create a village, I'm going to show you what it takes to break a village. If you break his workstation and his bell, it doesn't matter. He'll claim this workstation. However, if you break that, it still doesn't break the bed. However, if I kill him or I break this bed, this village will cease to exist. The village needs 1 villager and at least 1 bed. That's the bare minimum to have a village. 1 villager, 1 bed. Now there are people who have experienced bugs where they've killed all the villagers and still had a village. But I'm going to show you right now that if I kill this villager, this village will cease to exist. Alright, here we are back in UME. As you notice, there are no villages listed here. We're in a flat world. There are no villages in the world. We killed the villager. The village is gone. You need at least 1 villager and 1 bed. That's the bare minimum. Alright, let's jump back over to Minecraft and discuss the rest of what we're going to discuss today. Now that we've discussed what it takes to make and what it takes to break a village, let's talk about the actual size of the village. Now, let's just accept the fact that this red block here is going to be the center of the village. This could be the pillow of your bed. This could be your bell. But for our research here, we're going to call this the center of the village. The center of the village is in the middle of a box. The box is 64 by 24 by 64. Let me figure out which way north is. Okay. Now you're thinking, how can this be in the center of a box if it's an even number? Well, like all things Minecraft, it makes a couple of compromises. Technically, the center is right here. So it is 32 blocks that way, 32 blocks that way. It counts this as a block, so 31 blocks east and 31 blocks south. There are 12 blocks between the bottom of that block and the ground. and there are 11 blocks on top of this for a combined total of 64 by 24 by 64. That is the size of your artificial village. Now there are things that you can do to make it larger. If you add a POI outside of this, but within the village detection range, one of the villagers will claim this, and that will extend the size of the village. You can make this village larger, but as far as I know, you cannot make an artificial or player-created village smaller. Natural generated villages can be larger, and oftentimes are larger, but for a player-created village, the size is almost always 64 by 24 by 64, unless you've altered it in some way. Now that we've talked about the size of the village, and you previously heard me mention about village detection ranges, let's discuss that. So obviously we're going to need another village. We'll get our stunt villager. Good job connecting. Let's add a second bed. And let's go out. This is the center of our village because it is the only claimed bed in this village. This is an unclaimed bed so far. An unclaimed bed can never be the center of your village. Only claimed beds and only bells. So we're at 1, 2, 3, 4. Just so you know, this is a chunk, so that's 16, 32, 48, 64, 80, 96. This black block right here is 96 blocks. Let's get out another stunt villager. On our 97th block, this villager has never seen this village. He doesn't know anything about it. He says, I'm just a wild villager. You move him one block over. Suddenly, that's his village. Alright, we need another stunt villager. On the 96th block, instantly connects. That's his village. He's headed towards it. So obviously, our village detection range on the XZ axis, or horizontally, is 96 blocks. Now, our POI here is at 4, just for a baseline. Here at 81, says not my village. Still, he's at 80. Hasn't seen it. $79. He says, yeah, that's my village. Now the difference between his head at 80 here and that bed are 76 blocks. 80 to 4 is 76 blocks. That is, from the center to the top of a village is 12 plus 64. That's how we get to the 76. That's how the game calculates it. Goodbye, stunt villager. Alright, now that we've talked about what it takes to make a village, the actual size of the village, and the village detection ranges, let's put it all together and see what it looks like. This bed right here is the de facto center of this village. It's actually not a village yet, because we don't have a villager. But we do have a villager now. Thanks for helping out. Now, as you notice, the sea lanterns is the village bounding box. The 64 by 24 by 64. If you're in this box, you're in the village. Your TS timer will not spike. You will not be disconnected from the village. Outside of that box, your TS timer starts to go up. Eventually, it will reach 24,000 game ticks, and you will be disconnected from the village. However, the glowstone is the furthest distance that this village can detect a village dweller. That means villager, iron golem, cat, hostile. It is also the furthest distance that it can detect a POI. So if you put a POI out here, outside the village, but within this village detection range, and you have a villager that doesn't have that type of POI claimed yet, he will claim this and make the village bounding box larger. So I want to demonstrate that the village will detect a villager out to the maximum distance. So to do this, we're going to need another bed. Now, I'm going to add a villager for this. He's dead. Thank you for serving your country. And I did that because there's a pretty serious, where am I? Okay, here I am. There's a pretty serious bug that the second bed in a village needs to be within the first 16 blocks of the first bed in order to be detected. And then every POI after that can go to the maximum distance. So I will place this villager here, and of course he links instantly. I use the glass so that he doesn't run off. If I break this glass, he's going to just run towards the center of the village because he's going to try to get back inside of the village. He says, I can detect the village. I'm not in the village. I need to be in the village. Here, detects village. Outside of here, never heard of it. See, he still hasn't linked. That side of the glowstone, never heard of it. In here, links instantly. Alright, that's the basics of the village sizes, the village detection ranges. If you think that I got something wrong, if you think I forgot something, if there's something you would like to see in the future videos, if you want to just, I don't know, ask a question or chat generally, leave a comment in the description. Leave a comment below. In the description will be links to people's YouTube pages like Yodoff, and Flowland, who have been instrumental in discovering village mechanics, along with there will also be links to people's YouTube pages who I just think do cool stuff. So give them a look, subscribe to them. That'd be awesome. Thank you for watching. And like I said, if there's something you want to see or something you think I got wrong, leave a comment below. We'll discuss it. And thank you for watching.